2 years, when there were controversial issues that came up, I reached out to my constituents and I said, well, what do you think about this? Are you for this? Are you against it? So to me, that's the most important thing, is making sure that, they know that I've got their backs and, that I'm there for them. So again, when it came time to run again for office, it was really just checking in with the folks in the district and saying, here's what I've been up to. Are there things that you're concerned about that, want me to be aware of? So we're taking that same strategy.
And this being Rhode Island, which is very blue, again, this year you are opposed in the primary, but then would not be opposed in the general election. Is that right?
That's true. Although Rhode Island has a reputation for being the reddest blue state in the nation. So, we say that we're blue, but we do have a lot of, especially in some of the establishment, some more conservative voices. And again, that's what makes it harder for someone like me, someone like Rep. Walsh and others, because we tend to be, a little bit more on the liberal or progressive side of things. And I don't really like labels. For me, it's about doing what's right for the people in my district. But, those issues usually line up on a certain side of things. And unfortunately, sometimes those differ with some in the Democratic Party here in Rhode Island.
Why is the Democratic Party in Rhode Island so different? I mean, I feel like overall nationally, we've been seeing the parties tend sort of towards uniformity in their members' views. Republicans have gotten more conservative and Democrats have gotten more liberal in general. And yet it seems like from all the research I've been doing in Rhode Island that, like what you said is true, that there's quite a few Democrats who are sort of more on the conservative side of things. Why is it so different in Rhode Island, do you think?
Just from my observation through the years, and, you could talk to lots of people in Rhode Island about this, but, going back over the last couple of decades, it was, it's difficult for someone who runs as a Republican to win in this seat. So, you probably heard the term Dino, Democrat name only, where there is this sense that some of the people who previously would have been Republicans decided to run as a Democrat in order to get elected. Sometimes having that D after your name, it could make the difference between whether you win or lose. So, depending on who you talk to, there are some people who believe that the Republicans actually took control of, the Democratic Party here in Rhode Island. But, I think that with the number of people who are getting interested in politics, especially after the 2016 election, there are some new voices that are engaged and running for office, and we'll see where it goes from there.
And you have in Rhode Island this year a Wednesday primary.
Yes.
Wow.
That's going to make it interesting for sure.
Are you worried about low turnout in the primary?
Well, we're going to do everything that we can. All of our literature has Wednesday. Whenever we talk to people, we say it's a Wednesday. And, we'll be doing a lot for our Get Out the Vote to let people know, our people know anyway, that it's Wednesday. But yeah, I think there's going to be a little bit of confusion with that.
It's also a very late primary, one of the latest in the country.
True, yeah.
Into September. But I suppose that makes a certain amount of sense if it's a state where a lot of the work is done in the primary and, the general is not as important in a lot of districts.
Yeah. Yeah, there is, like in my case and in many others, there's really just a primary. And unfortunately, too, there's, many seats that go unchallenged year after year as well. But I think part of that is, at least for the General Assembly, our sessions go until the June timeframe, usually the end of June. So I guess if you are an elected, at least you have July and August and a little bit of September to do your campaigning.
I also wanted to ask, this is a part-time position, and the pay is very low compared to a lot of other state legislature seats. What are the kinds of people who are mostly in the state legislature? What kinds of people do you see in the state Senate? Are they working other jobs? What does that look like?
Most people do have other jobs. There are a lot of lawyers. My opponent is a lawyer. I guess we don't have enough lawyers in the Senate, so we need more. But there are a few businessmen. There's a couple of teachers, but it really isn't very diverse. For me personally, I would love to see a lot of regular folks. Moira's story is great, and coming into the House of Representatives as a former waitress, I think we need more regular people to get involved. But when you're talking about, I think the salary is like something upward of $15,000 a year, and the time requirement, if you're going to do it right, it's a lot. And, it makes it difficult for regular folks to try to run for office. Yeah. And that's like, getting through the election where you have to raise all kinds of funds too. One of the things that I would really love to see going forward is really, public funding of elections, obviously, to get more people to be able to run for office. And then also, for someone like me, I'm lucky because I was able to do this full time. So I could read every bill. I could, not only attend my own hearings for the two committees that I'm on, but I could also, like, if a bill was coming before us for a floor vote, I had the opportunity to watch the hearings for the other committees. And not everyone gets a chance to do that because they're working, and then, they're running from work to go up to the State House. So I'd love to be able to see, something change there. And like I said, to get more regular folks to run for office.
All right. Is there anything else that you would like people to know about your campaign?
Just that we're trying to do everything that we can to make myself accessible to the people in the district. Like I said before, I really want to hear from people and let them know too that, I'm there for them. I don't plan on doing this for very long. I think it's great when, like I said, new people come in and bring new energy. But I think one of the things that, is true in my case and true in Rep. Walsh's case is we're not afraid to speak out on an issue that we know the people in our districts don't want us to vote for. We're not afraid to stand up and say, hey, there's something not right about this, and you know what, I'm going to vote against it. So in that case, sometimes that's not very welcome. But I want the people in my district to know that I'm not afraid to do that for them if there's something that, they really believe strongly in one way or the other.
And if people would like to help you fundraise for your campaign, how can they do that?
Oh, they can go to my website. It's JeanineCalkin.com. And I believe that there's probably a donate button right there.
It's a big red button.
Yeah. And that would be great. Any little bit helps when you're running grassroots campaigns.
Excellent. We'll put a link for that up on our website as well.
Thank you so much.
So thank you so much for joining us. This has been really great, and I've learned some about Rhode Island.
Yeah, it's an interesting place. Like I said, I've been here my whole life. I do love it here. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. And maybe sometime when you come out this way, we can show you around Warwick.
That would be great. Pretty soon I'm going to have to do a road trip of every candidate I know everywhere. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for having me. I think what you're doing is great. It's wonderful to see people who are motivated from things like the Women's March and just more women getting involved in politics and talking about the issues. I think it's great. So thank you for doing that.
Thanks for listening to Two Broads Talking Politics. Our theme song is called Are You Listening? Off the album Elephant Shaped Trees by the band Imunari, and we're using it with express permission of the band. Our logo and all original artwork is by Matthew Weflin and is done expressly for Two Broads Talking Politics. We can be found on our website at twobroadstalkingpolitics.com. You can reach us by email at twobroadstalkingpolitics@gmail.com, on Twitter at twobroadstalk, on Facebook and Instagram, and you can support us on patreon.com. You can find our podcast on Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and anywhere podcasts are found. If you are interested in advertising on Two Broads Talking Politics, please email us at twobroadstalkingpolitics@gmail.com.